Hi, everybody. I am Remy Kailis, and today we're talking about Theryn Meyer because I've heard that she went crazy. But before we get into that, I would like to refresh your memory a little bit. How many of you remember this?
We'll go from there.
Right. So I just want to start off because we just had a conversation off camera. She posted something that said my predictions that I talked about. I'm not comfortable using the she pronoun, not because it's not anything to be disrespectful. It's just that a lot of people that follow me don't know that Blaire is trans, and a lot of people that follow her maybe don't know me, vice versa. And I think that it betrays the audience when you make it sound like this is a petty catfight and there are two girls sitting across from a table, when in fact it is a grown man sitting across from a grown woman who has had a lot of things to say about me when I've never even met you or said negative comment about you. So I just want that to be very clear. Happy to for the rest
Super
of this.
clear.
Yeah, it should be
Super
known.
clear.
We're both adults. You know, you're a grown man.
No, we're definitely adults. I just think it's interesting how you act like you're above the ad hominems and you're above attacking someone when in reality you and I both know that the situation is you're using those pronouns and you're saying what you're saying, calling me a grown man.
That's not an attack, that's a fact.
Let me finish though. You're doing that in a way to be passive aggressive and petty, but in a way that your audience doesn't actually read, because you do have the very hardcore conservative audience, and so they're not.
Well, what about this?
Was untrue.
Candace.
Just reach out and say, you could have been on the podcast saying, actually, I reached out to him and he told me this. You could have introduced facts, but instead you were seated like you're acting like a 13-year-old boy.
What happened was
It's drama. It's drama, dude. It's drama.
Anti-SJWs were angry and outraged at Candace Owens. So many people didn't like her at all and calling her all sorts of terrible things on Twitter. Then later on, the Daily Caller did the same thing. They called Blaire White he and him, and so many people were angry. Hi, I think I'm real. Patsy Politics, some black guy, Ian Smile Chong. So many people were angry and outraged about Candace Owens and Daily Caller calling Blaire White a man. They were just so angry. And I think you could see where I'm going with this. That's right. Theryn was there, and Theryn was angry and outraged because Blaire confided in her and told her what an emotional toll that it had on her. After that whole week of the Daily Caller article calling her a he and Red Pill Black calling her a man to her face, Blaire told me about the emotional toll that's had on her. So when Ben Shapiro intentionally and publicly misgendered Blaire, I was shocked when Blaire used my defense of her as an opportunity to publicly throw me under the bus and act as though my response was wholly unfounded, when she obviously understands it wasn't, and using it to further her I'm the only reasonable trans person narrative. Theryn Meyer wasn't being inconsistent. How come it is a-okay for Ben Shapiro to call Blaire White a man, but it is wrong for Red Pill Black to call Blaire White a man? At most, you could say that Red Pill Black was doing it to be malicious and that she accidentally called Blaire White by she, her pronouns accidentally, while with Ben Shapiro, he does it to all trans people and it's not deliberately to be rude. Though, I mean, it wouldn't explain why Blaire White was, angry at Fox from the West when he played Dude Looks Like a Lady for her and she just got really angry. I mean, the way I view it is just that it's important to be consistent, or otherwise you're saying when Ben Shapiro calls Blaire White a man, it's a-okay, and that's perfectly fine and acceptable. But when Red Pill Black calls Blaire White a man, that's terrible because of reasons. I mean, I don't get it, but from the way I look at it, the only person who seems to be very consistent here is Theryn Meyer, while the rest of you are just playing along with Blaire, where you're not following the idea, you're just following the person. Next, I'm going to give my opinions on this drama. I'm not here to tell you who to invite onto your channel, but did you consider all the plausible ramifications of platforming three neo-Nazis arguing for white ethno-states on the #1 trending livestream with 1100K plus watching? Okay, this is my opinion on what she means. I think what she means is that this could possibly cause some tensions among race relations. Like what if like 30% of black people were watching, or what if half of the people watching were like Democrats? Like wouldn't this make matters worse when it comes to race relations, where Democrats could be a lot like, oh yeah, like this is how racist America has become. Like when you think about it, the fact that the #1 live stream on YouTube was three neo Nazis talking, there's going to be some people from Black Lives Matter saying that they're nervous and that they're scared. There's going to be Democratic politicians watching this. The Young Turks probably seen this. Um, John Oliver probably have seen this, and this may later on get lots of media spin. John Oliver may give his media spin on this. The Young Turks may give their spin on this. CNN, and they would probably later on use this during election time to say how racist America is, that America is so incredibly racist, and you just hand it to them. And that's in the end, you could actually be acting against their best interest. Think about Mr. Medicur's video against Crouton T, where at the end of the video, Mr. Medicur said that the worst part is that you caused the very thing that you're trying to prevent. While Andy Warski, by having three neo-Nazis on his live stream, he could be the root cause of the very thing that he's trying to prevent. And well, here Andy Warski is being passive aggressive and virtue signaling. Theryn Meyer says, when did I say I was against the stream? When was I crying about it? How is asking someone if they've carefully considered the consequences of their free speech and how they would use their platform being against free speech? WTF? I am in awe at your reactions to people like you. And again, I think what she means, again, I am not Darren. I cannot read her mind. I don't know what is inside her head. But I think what she means is that the ramification could be that Andy Warski is causing the very thing that he's trying to prevent. He's trying to promote free speech, but this could easily be used against him by the Young Turks, by John Oliver, by CNN. They are probably waiting until election time, like during the 2020 midterm elections, to say like, hey, like this is how bad racism is in America. Like, wow, I mean, neo-Nazis talking and it's #1 trending on YouTube, and it's going to be used to create hysteria and, to as a way probably to enable hate speech laws. In other words, Andy Warski could be actually helping the very people he's trying to stand up against. Because remember, Andy Warski, he has like 300,000 people in subscribe to his YouTube channel, while Sean Oliver, who is left-wing, has 5 million people subscribed to his YouTube channel. So, why don't you consider that? Anyway, this has been Randy Michaelis, and oh, I'm not listening to music. This thing has a mic. I am trying this now because a person told me that the audio is much better, and I want to be understood. I didn't notice that the audio was that bad, but because somebody told me that the audio was far better when I started using this little mic that's meant for cell phones, I decided to start using this so people could hear me more clearly. Anyway, this has been Randy Michaelis. Please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Bye bye.